before Dylan's death, a short distance to the east, his killer hurried along the pavements of Belfast city centre through a cold rain. He wore a dark green oilskin coat with a brown corduroy collar. His code name was Black Sheep. The air smelled of the sea and faintly of the rusting shipyards of Belfast Lough. It was just after 4 p.m., but already dark. Night falls early on a winter's night in Belfast. Morning dawns slowly. The city centre was bathed in yellow sodium light, but Black Sheep knew that West Belfast, his destination, would feel like the wartime blackout. He continued north up Great Victoria Street, past the curious fusion of old and new that makes up the face of central Belfast. The constant reminders that these few blocks have been bombed and rebuilt countless times. He passed the shining facade of the Europa, infamous for being the most bombed hotel on the planet. He passed the new Opera House and wondered why anyone in Belfast would want to listen to the music of someone else's tragedy. He passed a hideous American donut shop filled with laughing Protestant schoolchildren in crested blazers. "I do this for you," he told himself. "I do this so you won't have to live in an Ulster dominated by the fucking Catholics." The larger buildings of the city centre receded, and the pavement slowly emptied of other pedestrians until he was quite alone. He walked for about a quarter mile and crossed over the M1 motorway near the towering Divis Flats. The overpass was scrawled with graffiti: "Vote Sinn Féin, British troops out of Northern Ireland, release all POWs." Even if Black Sheep had known nothing of the city's complex sectarian geography, which was certainly not the case, the signs were impossible to miss. He had just crossed the frontier into enemy territory: Catholic West Belfast. The Falls spreads west like a fan, narrow at its mouth near the city centre, broad to the west, beneath the shadow of Black Mountain. The Falls Road, simply the road in the lexicon of Catholic West Belfast, cuts through the neighbourhood like a river, with tributaries leading into the thickets of terraced houses where British soldiers and Roman Catholics have engaged in urban guerrilla warfare for 3 decades. The commercial centre of the Falls is the intersection of the Springfield Road and the Grosvenor Road. There are markets, clothing shops, hardware stores, and pubs. Taxis filled with passengers shuttle up and down the street. It looks much like any other working-class neighbourhood in a British city, except the doorways are encased in black steel cages, and the taxis never stray from the Falls Road because of Protestant killer squads. The dilapidated white terraces of Ballymurphy housing estate dominate the western edge of the Falls. Ballymurphy is the ideological heartland of West Belfast, and over the years it has supplied a steady stream of recruits to the IRA. Bellicose murals stare over the White Rock Road toward the rolling green hills of the city cemetery, where many of Ballymurphy's men are buried beneath simple headstones. To the north, across the Springfield Road, a giant army barracks and police station stands like a besieged fortress in enemy territory, which indeed it is. Strangers aren't welcome in the Murph, even Catholic strangers. British soldiers don't set foot there without their giant armoured personnel carriers called Saracens, pigs to the people of Ballymurphy. Black Sheep had no intention of going anywhere near Ballymurphy. His destination was farther to the east, the headquarters of Sinn Féin, the political wing of the Irish Republican Army, located at number 51 to 55 Falls Road. As he moved deeper into the Falls, the spires of St. Peter's Cathedral rose to his left. A trio of British soldiers drifted across the ugly asphalt square in front of the cathedral, now pausing to peer through the infrared sights of their rifles, now spinning on their heels to see if anyone was following them. "Don't speak to them," his handlers had told him. "Don't even look at them. If you look at them, they'll know you're an outsider." Black Sheep kept his hands in his pockets and his gaze on the pavement in front of him. He turned into Dunville Park and sat down on a bench. Despite the rain, schoolboys played football in the weak light of the street lamps. A group of women, mothers and older sisters by the look of them, watched carefully from the imaginary sidelines. A pair of British soldiers strode through the middle of the game, but the boys played around them as though they were invisible.